Was Popper a skeptic? Popper wasn't a skeptic, not in the philosophical sense of the word. He was quite the opposite. Skeptics believe in the justified true belief theory of knowledge. They rightly conclude one can never be absolutely certain about knowledge claims, but then they wrongly conclude that this means knowledge isn't possible. Now, Popper was a critic of this idea. He rejected it completely. He threw it away root and branch and started from the ground up. The idea here that he had was to divorce knowledge from it being about certainties or justified truth. Instead, knowledge is possible because there is an objective difference between knowledge claims. None of them are final absolutes. But in almost all cases, always, where there are two or more competing claims, one of them is better than the others. The process of criticism rules out all but one of the ideas, ideally. The one that survives, we say, I know that. That claim comes to be called a part of our knowledge of the world, but it's always revisable, always improvable. Popper wasn't a skeptic about knowledge. He was a critic, and these are quite different things. One assumes knowledge is not possible because certainty isn't, while the other says almost exactly the opposite. The pursuit of knowledge and its objective growth and the improvement is only possible because certainty is not. So to unpack this, if we were able to have the final certain word on anything, then this would mean we'd have direct access to the final certain truth. And this would mean the quest for knowledge would stop. We'd just tap into that ultimate source of truth, and that would be that. Game over. We'd never improve anything because we'd have the final complete answer, and all the answers actually. So the pursuit of knowledge would stop. Happily, the pursuit of knowledge isn't like this at all. Knowledge is hard won, and it comes to us with much misconception. Almost all we know contains misconception, and we can never be sure which is misconception and which is true. But that doesn't matter. As long as our process of error correction keeps on sifting the misconceptions from the kernels of truth so that we make progress, this is all we need to be able to say we are creating knowledge, or that we are learning and making objective progress. We can't know we've got the final truth ever. But what we can know is that our process of criticism, experimental falsification and other kinds of refutation, makes the ideas that survive this process objectively better than the ideas that do not. The purpose of science is to correct our knowledge of physical reality. Here we see improvements most obviously, perhaps. Objective progress seems to be made all the time. New medical discoveries improve our health and lengthen our lives and cure disease that was previously a death sentence. Each new iPhone is better than the last one. One great theory is overturned by another even better theory. New explanations replace old ones. The new ones are not certainly true. They're just closer to this ontological truth than its rivals are. Karl Popper called this verisimilitude. This means closeness to truth, where by truth we mean the ontological truth.